Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, it's the first day of my short weekend this week. I just got done doing a live stream, and today we are going to do another episode of Bytes and Nibbles with Breck. Today's recipe is going to be an Instant Pot recipe, and I was looking through one of my Instant Pot cookbooks and found an interesting recipe called Mediterranean Tomato Beef Soup. And I've been kind of in a soup mode for the past few weeks. You may recall that I did some split pea soup a couple weeks ago, and we did that in the Instant Pot, and we're going to try this. I looked at the ingredients looked really good, and I thought, you know what, this might be worth a try, so let's give it a shot. Alright, so here are the ingredients that we need for our Mediterranean tomato beef soup. Obviously we got to have some beef. Every time I've been using ground beef, everyone says, oh, you got to use ground chuck, it tastes better. So I got ground chuck today. A carrot, I got some fresh basil because it requires that, a little sage, salt and pepper to taste, a little garlic, a cup of milk, some olive oil, 1 large onion, some vegetable broth, and 30 ounces of peeled tomatoes. Now I've actually spent a little bit of time kind of preparing all the ingredients, because once we get going on this, when one step is complete, you got to have the next ingredients ready to go. So I've already sliced up my carrots and my onions and my garlic, and this is my basil and sage. And next thing I'm going to do is I have the cans of tomatoes and the milk, and the recipe says throw that in the blender and just kind of mix it all together. So, like I said, I want to get all of that done before we throw anything in, start the cooking process, because once it starts going, it goes fast. So I got my handy dandy blender out, and the tomatoes go in, and the milk goes in. And throw the cover on, and then we are going to just mix it for a minute. Alright, so that's ready to go. Let's begin doing this recipe. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the Instant Pot in saute mode, and we're just going to accept the default mode. It says it's for 30 minutes, but we're not going to be there that long. And we're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. We're going to let that all heat up a little bit here. Alright, sounds like the oil's ready to go, so we're going to throw the beef in. And we're going to basically just brown that. You've seen me do this a bunch of times. This will be no different. And we'll come back to this when it's ready. Alright, our ground beef is starting to look pretty good, nice and brown. Now we're going to throw in our onions, our carrots, and our garlic. And we're going to kind of let that saute now for another about 2 minutes. Alright, a couple minutes have gone by. The carrots and the onions and the garlic are all mixed in and kind of sauteed and looking pretty good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mix in our tomatoes and our milk mixture and just kind of stir it all together. Get every last drop. Alright. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to mix in all the rest of the ingredients, which is our vegetable broth, and our basil and our sage. Once I can get everything, every last drop in there. Mix it all together, kind of get everything mixed in. I elected to go with fresh basil here. It actually recommended that you chopped it, so that implied to me that it had to be fresh, so I found fresh. But I had the sage already just in a powdered form, and that worked fine. Now normally you'd put salt and pepper in here. I'm actually going to do that at the end because I kind of want to see what I have to work with and kind of adjust the flavor for me. But that is the beginning of my soup. That looks pretty good. What we're going to do now is we're going to cancel the saute function. So that turns that off. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the lid on and lock it down. And we're going to go into pressure cook here. Now, the directions actually say manual, but apparently the version of Instant Pot that they worked with used manual instead of pressure cook. But we're going to use pressure cook. We're going to go at high pressure, so that's already set. And we're going to run it for 15 minutes. And then we'll disable the keep warm function because we're not going to keep it warm. And it will start in just a moment. And we'll come back in a little bit and see how this turns out. When it's done, we're going to just quick release the pressure. So we'll do that in a few minutes. See you then. Alright, so now that we're done with this, the cooking is gone for 15 minutes. We're going to do a quick release. Once again, watch out for the steam around here, and we're going to just press the button. And when the red button drops, the pressure is released. Now we're going to open this thing up carefully. Remember, it's very, very hot in there. Watch out for steam. Oh yeah, that looks like soup. You can see it's still cooking in there. Now we're going to give it just one little stir here just to get everything mixed up here. Looks pretty good, smells good too. You always get your first sampling of what it's going to smell like when you begin venting, because all that steam smells fantastic. Alright, taste test time, because now we got to add the salt and pepper. Definitely need salt and pepper. Alright, so I ended up putting about 2 tablespoons of salt and about 1.5 tablespoons of fresh ground pepper. And I think that's pretty good. That's one of those things that you can kind of decide what's right for you. I thought it was a little bland without the salt. Who knows, maybe you may discover that that's the way you like it. For the most part, it's very healthy. You know, not a whole lot of any of the bad stuff, you know, not a lot of sodium and all that stuff in it. We used low sodium vegetable broth and very lean ground chuck beef, and it's pretty good. Like I said, this would be a great thing for like a cold winter's morning, and we're starting to get a little cold and a little wintry here, so this will be very, very tasty. So I'm going to let this just kind of rest for a little bit, and then we're going to actually do a real taste test. Alright, well, I kind of have an idea what I'm getting into already, because I've already done a couple of taste tests when I was setting up the salt and pepper levels, but this is really good. It's got a good, nice tomatoey flavor. It's got decent spice. You know, I might add a little Tabasco to it just to kick it up a notch. But this is really good. It's a really healthy meal, and I can't say I wouldn't try this myself again. This was really good. It was pretty easy to do. A little bit on the prep work. You know, got to prepare all the ingredients and all that, but once you get it in there, you just throw it all into the pot and let it cook for 15 minutes, and you'll get probably 6 meals out of this. So this was a good one. I'm going to include the recipe down below. I definitely recommend it. And that's all I think I have for today. So thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit.